Hello, and welcome to the Emergency Management Duty Officer presentation, presented by the Department of Public Safety Communications and Emergency Management. There are three main objectives to this training. The first is to explain the role of emergency management and the Emergency Operations Center, known as the EOC, in incident response in Arlington County. The second is to understand the Department of Public Safety Communications and Emergency Management, known as DPSM, Duty Officer Program, and how the program can assist with incident response. And the third is to walk through scenarios where the duty officer would be requested and explain how to request the duty officer. So what is emergency management? Emergency management's role is to create a framework to reduce vulnerability to hazards and to cope with disasters. Emergency management accomplishes this by executing the four planning phases: mitigation, preparedness, response, and recovery. You can see this illustrated in the graphic on the screen. Mitigation is concerned with lessening the impact of incidents, while preparedness seeks to increase individual and community readiness for incidents. Response is the immediate reaction to an incident and dealing with its effects, and recovery is the short and long-term rehabilitation from an incident. Through working with communities, businesses, and individuals, emergency managers, or EMs, help the whole of Arlington County throughout these four planning phases. To be effective in those phases, EMs must be able to effectively coordinate, support, and communicate. We coordinate emergency preparedness by working with other entities to develop plans that address our response, mitigation, recovery, and continuity efforts. We coordinate the use and distribution of resources, which includes coordinating emergency support function or ESF support of incident response. And lastly, we take responsibility for the communication and information sharing between incident responders, county executives, and the community. For Arlington to fulfill our duties, we must work within the organization of the county. To make it easier to communicate and coordinate preparedness, mitigation, response, and recovery, the Department of Public Safety Communications and Emergency Management has a direct reporting line to the Deputy County Manager and County Manager. This communication happens through the Director of DPSM, which is indicated by the yellow arrow on the screen. Our department consists of three divisions. The first of these is the Emergency Communications Center, or ECC, or alternatively, the 911 Call Center. The second is the Integrated Programs Division. This houses the Budget and Finance Department, Communications, and Community Engagement, and also includes Public Information Officers, known as PIOs. The third is the Emergency Management Division, which itself is home to three separate teams. The first of these is the Preparedness Team, which is responsible for updating, revising, and storing all emergency management plans, policies, and procedures, as well as conducting trainings and exercises for different county departments and external partners. The second is the Watch Desk, a specialized operations support unit that provides the county's emergency managers, public safety command staff, and government leadership with real-time situational awareness. Finally, there is the Emergency Management Operations Team. They are responsible for the maintenance of the technology of the Emergency Operations Center, the setup of the alternate EOC sites, the management of the DPSM logistics base, and other special projects. When large emergencies do happen in Arlington County, DPSM is there to organize the many departments, stakeholders, and organizations involved in responding to and recovering from the incident. We make sure information flows, resources are provided, and the chaos is organized. During and after an emergency managers gather the facts, connect people and organizations, turn chaos into organization through looking at ourselves as chaos coordinators. We take unwieldy situations and try to bring sense and order to ensure that we can respond in the most organized way possible. Emergency managers manage info, resources, and consequences, keep everyone in constant communication, and restore a sense of order as quickly as possible. In emergencies, emergency managers act as organizers and project managers that help our community make incremental progress back to normal. To wrap up our discussion of emergency management in Arlington County, we will now discuss the Emergency Operations Center, or EOC. When an event, such as a hurricane, occurs and the resulting emergency overwhelms Arlington County, A safe and secure location must be available where high-level emergency managers can effectively meet to coordinate response activities. This is done through the Arlington EOC. The Arlington EOC is activated under a set of circumstances outlined in the Arlington County Emergency Operations Plan. These include, but are not limited to, the following. Upon request of the incident commander, when emergency operations exceed the county's capabilities, when the county is confronted with the imminent impact of a significant disaster, prior to and for the duration of a significant or highly controversial public event occurring within the county, to manage significant requests for mutual aid and cooperative assistance to other jurisdictions, and upon request of the Virginia Department of Emergency Management. The EOC is a tool that emergency managers can use to bring together essential personnel to collect, analyze, and share incident information, support on-scene resource needs and requests, including resource allocation and tracking, coordinate plans, policies, and procedures to determine current and future needs, and overall support the incident command. The makeup of the EOC may depend on the specific incident. In some cases, EOC roles will be pre-identified, while in other cases, potential EOC members will be requested to serve in the EOC as needed. Now that we have familiarized ourselves with how emergency management works in Arlington County, we will now move to a discussion about the new Emergency Management Duty Officer Program and how it can be used to assist with incident response. So what is the Emergency Management Duty Officer Program? Begun in August of 2022, the Emergency Management Duty Officer Program provides coordination and administrative support to on-scene responders without requiring an EOC activation. The duty officer communicates with DIPSM leadership to provide situational awareness that assists with decision around partner involvement and EOC activation, and acts to take administrative strain away from first responders and allows them to focus on life safety. Why should you contact the Emergency Management Duty Officer? The DO provides multiple benefits to incident responders. These include partner coordination, where the DO can act as facilitator, bringing in relevant partners to a scene and allowing for secondary concerns of an incident, like sheltering, to be addressed while letting incident responders focus on immediate life safety concerns. This includes contacting other Arlington departments, as well as bringing in private organizations like the Red Cross and the Animal Welfare League of Arlington. The DO can also provide situational awareness, acting as a liaison between DIPSM and on-scene personnel, keeping DIPSM informed on what steps it needs to take to best support incident response. The DO would also be involved in the initial decision to open the Emergency Operations Center. The DO can pass information both ways, keeping DIPSM and Incident Command abreast of new developments on either side. Lastly, the DO can provide administrative support, helping to source needed resources and working with partners to bring in whatever the incident requires. As we will cover in the next few slides, the DO can work to bring supplies like fresh water and food to the scene, as well as providing for smaller concerns like building access for residents and pet care. Next, we will summarize the incidents in which a duty officer should be called. These include 4 distinct types of incidents. The first of these are general events. This includes any incident in which the incident commander, watch officer, or duty officer believes may involve emergency management functions or require the coordination of multiple county agencies or local jurisdiction. Emergency management involvement in this incident should be considered outside of the scope of routine interactions between agencies. This type includes mass sheltering, evacuation, school incidents requiring external support, damage to critical infrastructure, death or serious injury to any on-duty county employee, or extreme weather and natural disasters. The next main type of incident is public health, and this includes incidents that can affect a large portion of the public or affect other areas of the community. This includes communicable disease exposures, foodborne disease outbreaks, environmental incidents, radiological, chemical, or biological agents, or incidents involving healthcare delivery systems. Next are fire and EMS incidents, and these include all incidents that have multiple casualties or require coordination between many agencies. This includes multiple alarm fires, chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and high-yield explosive incidents, technical rescues requiring additional non-county resources, high-rise incidents, and those incidents involving triage and treatment, casualty collection points, or patient staging areas. Finally, there are police and sheriff events that involve coordination with many agencies or affect areas beyond the immediate incident location. This includes active violence incidents, large public gatherings, evacuation of law enforcement facilities, prolonged traffic incidents, high visibility targets, or escapees from custody. Now that we've looked at a general overview of when to contact the duty officer, 2 specific examples will be covered where a duty officer should be contacted. The first is the Arlington apartment fire in May 2021, where the acting director of DIPSM was brought in to serve as a duty officer. The second incident is a hypothetical large water main break in Arlington County that would require duty officer assistance. The Arlington apartment fire at 3000 South Randolph Street occurred on May 24, 2021, and temporarily displaced some 60 residents, which led to a request being made to the watch desk for emergency management support. The acting director of DIPSM responded to the incident. While the duty officer program had not yet begun, the director acted as a duty officer would in this scenario. Upon arriving to the scene, the director went to the command post and conferred with the incident commander, who told him that there was over 60 displaced people, many of whom had pets. From there, the director contacted the watch desk and asked for Red Cross support in an FYI page to the ESF-6 lead. The ESF-6 lead then requested assistance from the Animal Welfare League of Arlington. The director located the community manager and began talking about communication paths for the residents, as the community manager had emails for all of those involved. He then toured the fire scene to get a better idea of what the situation was, and met with the community manager, Arlington County Fire Department Public Information Officer, and Red Cross to discuss the need for a briefing for the residents. This briefing was conducted at 8 a.m., informing residents of the situation, what resources were going to be available, and then was turned over to the Arlington County Fire Department to take all fire-related questions. The meeting was concluded, and everyone involved was informed on the next briefing time and location. The director then worked with the Arlington County Police Department on determining locations of Red Cross and AWLA vehicles. He then reviewed and approved the blast email to residents to ensure that they were aware of the location of these vehicles, and located the Arlington property manager to see if he could open up some nearby office buildings for restrooms. The director then met with the Civic Association president and conducted another briefing with the Arlington County Fire Department chief, the AWLA, Red Cross, and property manager. Following this briefing, through conversations with the residents, it was determined that if they could get to their vehicles, many of them had a place to go. So the director worked with the Arlington County Fire Department to get the garage open and to allow residents in unaffected areas back to their domiciles. This reduced the number in need from 60 to about 16 to 20 people. Once all partners had been brought to the scene and all unmet needs had been addressed, the director deactivated and left the scene. While the director was not acting as a duty officer in this scenario, his actions are typical of the support that duty officers will provide to on-scene personnel moving forward. Next, an examination of a hypothetical water main break that would require duty officer assistance should it occur. In this scenario, a 36-inch water main break has flooded nearby homes and left over 50 residents without water. This has caused water pressure to be low throughout the county, and a boil water notice has been issued. Following a request to the watch desk, a duty officer responds to this fictional scenario. Upon arrival to the scene, there are many things that the emergency management duty officer could provide that are similar to what the director provided during the Arlington apartment fire. In the instance of a water main break, the EMDO could liaise with ESF-6 to provide shelter to any displaced persons, work with Red Cross to bring in fresh water and supplies, determine methods of communicating with affected residents, both in the immediate vicinity and countywide with regards to low water pressure, and contact the Deputy Director of DIPSM to determine if an EOC activation is necessary. Lastly, this training will cover the steps needed for duty officer notification and arrival to the scene. For those acting as the incident commander in an incident where the need for the duty officer is determined, there are 4 steps that will need to be followed to bring the DO to the scene. First, the incident commander should contact the watch desk with their request for the duty officer. Do not contact the duty officer directly, as the watch desk will be your point of contact for the DO. Second, the watch desk will contact the DO. If for some reason the active duty officer cannot be contacted, this request will be sent to all off-duty duty officers, and one of them will respond to the incident. Third, the DO will call the incident commander directly and ask for information about the incident and where they are needed. If confirmed that they are needed at the scene, the duty officer will travel to the scene, taking us to step 4 and the DO arrival on scene. The DO is required to respond to any scene within 2 hours, but the response time for an incident should be as soon as possible. Upon arriving at the scene, the DO will locate the incident commander and begin addressing any needs identified at the scene. Thank you for taking the time to learn about the Emergency Management Duty Officer Program and how it can assist with incident response. For any questions regarding the Duty Officer Program or how it can be implemented in your programs and response, please contact David Morrison, the Emergency Operations Manager here at the Department of Public Safety Communications and Emergency Management. Thank you again for listening.